Bob Nelson.
Here.
Ron Richards.
Here.
Allison Ritterbush. Here. Craig Romy.
Present.
Caitlin Turner. Here. Thank you.
Okay, we do have a quorum. I'd ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved. Again, I remind everyone, if there is a conflict of interest on the item that we'll be voting on tonight, I would ask the individual that has a conflict to notify the entire council prior to voting. We also have a request to waive council pay for this special meeting. I would accept a motion to do that.
Make a motion to accept, I'll make a motion to waive council pay for special meeting.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to waive the council pay for this special meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Before we move into communications from the public, I would ask our chair of the Public Safety Committee to give a summary of why we're here tonight, and then that should guide the topic for the communication, if there are any communications from the public.
Okay, and I'll try to make it brief, but this journey for this special meeting really started Friday, so anybody that thinks government can't act quickly, we actually did act fairly quickly. I received a call from a local business owner, and there was some confusion over implementation of Ordinance 1212. And I made a call, and there was indeed some confusion, some possible inconsistencies on how the ordinance was being implemented. I looked at the governor's executive order 2020-12 and realized that it had removed one of the biggest issues that we had been dealing with, and that was the prohibition of on-site service in an enclosed space. And by that being gone, it appeared that opened the door for us to then, in fact, allow for the on-site service of food and beverage in an enclosed space, providing that the establishment was following the CDC guidelines, as is mentioned throughout the executive order, throughout our ordinance, and that 6-foot spacing is maintained. I discussed it with the mayor, I discussed it with the council president, Nelson. It's like, hey, if we can do something that's within the, that aligns with the governor's executive order, that can clarify the confusion, that can get our businesses on a step back to normality, can we do that, and can we do it by Monday? And this was, of course, Friday afternoon. So Misty had attempted, she just thought she was going to be at home branding. And I really appreciate both Misty and John, who, and Karen and Justin, who got the notifications out for this meeting so that we had our 24-hour notifications. I appreciate the council's graciousness at looking at a couple of different versions. I quickly put together a resolution that modified, and that was one of the things that Garland had said, that once we had the ordinance in place, we could, if we need to make a change, we could do it by resolution. So I put together a resolution that incorporated the verbiage from, actually, it's paragraph 11 of Governor's Executive Order 2020-12. And that paragraph says, and it relates to any enclosed retail business that promotes public gatherings within the state of South Dakota shall suspend or modify business practices as recommended by the CDC guidance that involves 10 or more people to be in an enclosed space where physical separation of at least 6 feet is not possible. And again, the other restrictions on on-site service had been removed from the executive order. So I put out an initial resolution that put that verbiage in paragraph 1 that dealt with restaurants, food courts, coffee houses, and bars. My first draft left paragraph 2 blank because I thought we weren't going to change it. When Bob looked at it, he actually on the second draft put it back in because we did need to readdress that. I had some very clumsy language in, I think, paragraph 3, so again, with Bob's help, we put the same verbiage that was in 1 regarding the statement that shall suspend or modify business practices as recommended by CDC guidance when 10 or more people, to include employees, are in an enclosed space where physical separation of at least 6 feet is not possible. So we put that verbiage in paragraph 3 that dealt with cigar bars, vaping lounges, and other similar businesses. We then put that verbiage also in paragraph 4, which deals with arcades, bingo halls, bowling alleys, casinos, and other similar recreational, and then made the statement that consumption of food or beverages in conjunction with the operation and under the conditions of paragraph 1 is allowed. And then added or included in number 5, modified paragraph 5 that says all other retail and service businesses. And again, the same verbiage, shall suspend or modify, again dealing with the more than 10 when you cannot maintain the 6 feet separation. And then the rest of 1212, paragraph 6 and beyond is unchanged. So that's the iterations that we went through, and so that's the resolution that you see today before you in the package that we'll be voting on. In today's press conference from the governor, she mentioned that there would be more guidance coming out tomorrow and alluded to more guidance that would allow South Dakota businesses to take more steps to getting back to normal. My perception of what she was saying is that the steps we're taking tonight will align well with that. I'll be very surprised if we have to call another special meeting and back off on this. It sounds like what we're doing tonight will align very good with what she plans to announce tomorrow. When you look at the statistics on testing that have been released on the COVID-19 website today, the data today shows that there have been 40 negative tests in Fall River County with still just the 1 positive case with the 1 which has been fully recovered. Custer County has had 18 negative tests. Oglala Lakota County has had, I apologize, I thought I would remember the number. They've had a significant number of tests, and I think there is one active case. So there's been 2 positive tests with 1 active case. Pennington County has had 500 and some negative tests, 12 positives. They've had the 1 fatality, and there's 1 active case. So, and Mayor talked with the director of Fall River Health today, told her what our plan was, asked if there was any concern from Fall River Health on what our proposed path forward was. She indicated that there was no. Am I correct in that, Mayor?
That's right. She said she supports that again with the caveat that everyone follows the hygiene patterns that CDC has recommended, and that we watch the numbers, and she would notify us if there's a spike in tests. Obviously, there's HIPAA requirements that we can't go into a lot of detail, but we can certainly get information and make a quick reaction to either tighten up or loosen up as it dictates.
One of the things that's personally helped me, I guess, support what we're going to attempt to do tonight is, for a long time when we looked at the data out there, it's like Fall River County had 9 negative tests, and it's like, okay, that's interesting. Are we really testing anybody? But since just within this past week, the number of tests in Fall River County has certainly increased. So to me, that's a very positive indicator that yes, we are actively testing in the county, and they're coming up negative. So the guidance that we're getting from the CDC, it certainly appears that the residents of our city and county are following that guidance. The businesses, I think, have been doing an excellent job of trying to follow that guidance, and even though it may not have been as absolutely crystal clear as it, and we've been, even within the city, have been getting some help from some of our resources that has been a little different than what our ordinance said. So I believe it is time to take the next step, and so with that, here's a proposal, and
Okay, thank you, Bill. At this time, are there any communications from the public? Go ahead, if you'd step forward to the microphone. And Chris, can you go ahead and get a plastic cover on that? And I think we should have some, is there some hand sanitizer down there?
I don't see it.
I'm not going to touch it.
I'll just put this plastic covering on there for you.
My name's Casey Cook. I'm kind of a newcomer here. I appreciate what all of you've done. I've sat in your spots at some other point in time in my life, so I appreciate that. I wholeheartedly support what you're doing. I think there's been some real, and we're not going to go into politics of it all, but I think there's been some real injustices done with how we decide what businesses we were going to close up and which ones we weren't. You know, how's a hardware store any different than a motel? You know, I have a hard time with that. We need to get the business in this town open. Summer's coming. We've had some real financial challenges, as you all know, so we need to try and get as much revenue as we can. You go out and walk around in the town, it's obvious that everybody's paying attention. I mean, it's not like you've got people that are out there, you know, doing merry-go-rounds. So I think the people of the town and the area are pretty cognizant of what's going on. But we need to get this town open. I mean, we've only got a couple restaurants left. You know, we've got the fire, we've got the close of Wind Cave and Jewel Cave last year. You know, we got to get some money going. And Uncle Sam isn't probably going to be looking at Hot Springs too hard. So I certainly support what you're doing, but I think people here aren't ignorant of the fact. They've been raising cattle, they've been raising animals all their lives, they know about diseases. So I think we can move forward to this pretty quick. But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Is
Casey.
there any other communications from the public? Hearing none, I move on.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to say something real fast. I'd like to personally thank Gina King and everybody else that's making masks and donating materials for masks. And Gina makes them for anybody that asks, and she gives them to people. She don't charge. So I'd like to personally thank the people in town that's doing all that. That's all I have.
Okay, thanks for bringing that up, Craig. Appreciate that. Okay, at this time, I would ask for a motion to approve Resolution 2020-15, amending Ordinance 1212 in response to the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2020-15, the first resolution amending ordinance number 1212 as part of the Hot Springs, South Dakota response to the COVID-19 coronavirus.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to pass Resolution 20-15. From the council, is there any questions, comments, or discussion?
Sir,
Bob, I know that, yes, go
can I just
ahead.
ask one quick question? How are you guys going to get this information out to everybody?
It will go out on our Facebook immediately, and the only other way is once the minutes are published and so forth, but we want to get it out on social media as quickly as we can. So Brett is here also. It hopefully can get into the paper this Thursday, and
Okay, great.
thank you. Bob, I know you were involved in the redrafting. Do you have any comments to make?
I don't, other than thanking Bill. I think it's a great resolution he came up with, so I appreciate that.
Well, thank you for your help. It was, I don't like typing on a deadline the Friday, but again, thank you. I appreciate all the help from the City Hall, our department heads and staff. It was truly a group effort.
Okay, any other comment? Go ahead.
Not quite sure how to put it. Will this make enforcing or coordinating these places a little easier? You know what I mean? You see a place, you know they're okay.
I don't think it'll make it any more difficult. It may require a little more questioning, but that's okay too. I think the approach the police department have taken on their compliance reviews to date has been one of engagement versus heavy-handed enforcement. So I think they'll just, when they do their spot checks, it'll be one of visiting versus
Coming down.
coming down, yeah.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'd ask Misty if you'd call the roll, please.
David Burris,
Yes.
Ray Heckenby,
Yes.
Bill Lukens,
Yes.
Bob Nelson,
Yes.
Ron Richards,
Yes.
Allison Ritterbusch.
Yes.
Craig Romy,
Yes.
Caitlin Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the resolution is approved, and again, I want to thank you as a council for looking at this, and Bill, you and Bob in particular, for the work you did on getting this squared around. I agree with the comments, Mr. Cook, we appreciate, because we too are suffering it with a closed punch and the potential of decreased sales tax revenues. We want our businesses to succeed, and we will be ever vigilant as conditions change. If we have to get more stringent, if there is a an outbreak, be prepared for another emergency meeting. We can do that via resolution. And also, if the things continue on the pathway that they are, that we can open Hot Springs up for business again totally and completely. With that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Been moved and seconded, we adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all.